Well, a lot of what Shehu Tijani spoke about revolves around jump-starting the country's almost moribund manufacturing sector. And there's hope that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his team at the G20 summit in India will be prospecting for ways and means of enhancing that effort. Well, our own Arise business analyst, Bode Ososanmi, joins us now to offer his thoughts on how he thinks this summit can play out. It's good to have you on the morning show. Now, Bode, some are questioning whether the G20 is still relevant. What are your thoughts on this? Should the president be there? Shouldn't he be?
Well, thank you for having me on the show. Indeed, bringing countries together to dialogue, I think, helps to diffuse the geopolitical tensions and minimize the conflict. And it's good to have a voice in the room. In the past, I suspect that the wealthier powers used these forums to progress their foreign policies, while some others were mute. We understand now the African Union, which is a 55-member group, previously designated as invited international organization, is now a permanent member. So that is good. But obviously, there's no reason why Nigeria shouldn't be in the G20 as a full member, given its geoeconomic importance. But I think that will come. In the past, summits like this tend to have produced ambitious statements and disappointing results. But we have to acknowledge that in battling the financial crisis, such as the global crisis of 2008 and 2009, Eurozone crisis in 2010, taking a lead with the $10 trillion rescue package against COVID-19, and then the G20 debt service suspension initiative, which benefited 50 countries. So it's good to be able to influence a lot of these solutions. And I think that's why Nigeria's voice needs to be at the table. Mind you, this is not easy. If you are resolving global taxation, for example, different countries have different positionings in the global value chain, and how you tax will certainly affect the physical position of one at the expense of the other. Climate change resolutions can be a lever for economic advancement for Western countries with the technology, and can slow down developing nations who still want to use more available fossil fuel solutions and minimize import bills. Also, the US thinks Ukraine is the most important issue. Southern economies, however, see Ukraine sometimes diverting attention from the more important issues of supporting weaker economies to address a new rising poverty and debt distress. So I guess it's better to be in this kind of group, which is definitely one of the most influential groups if you look at global geopolitics, than be out of it.
All right, Bode, with some saying that Xi Jinping, President Xi Jinping, or President Xi Jinping actually boycotted the G20 summit, and people are seeing it as a huge snub. What is the summit hoping to achieve without the presence of China, which is a major player there?
Well, I think that's a very good question. The theme is towards an inclusive, resilient, and sustainable recovery. And they're looking at topics like climate change, global health, digital transformation. And with China not there, I think it's going to be difficult. I understand China obviously has domestic issues. Biden is trying to focus on reforming the World Bank, urging other multilateral development banks to boost lending for climate change, asking Congress for $3.3 billion in additional funding, and trying to get more people to counter China, I think, in terms of financing. For example, today they're announcing a multinational rail and port deal linking the Middle East and South Asia on the sidelines of the summit, even as this countering China's Belt and Road push is being pitched by Washington. Obviously, Xi Jinping is not impressed. So that makes it challenging, but I guess that's just how it is. It's still better to meet and do what you can. I understand they're still struggling through the communique. We'll see if the communique comes out and they're able to get a consensus.
Mm-hmm. That was going to be my next question to you. This draft communique that is already in circulation, but what more can you tell us about it?
Well, the 38-page draft was out, and initially it left out the geopolitical situation. That's the paragraph on Ukraine. I understand they've now been able to come with some kind of paragraph which will try and address most of the issues. But the country representatives have to reach a compromise on language which everyone can accept, and I believe that has been done. I understand that just came out a few minutes ago. But what we know so far is that the document reflects agreements to address debt vulnerabilities in low and middle income countries in an effective, comprehensive, and systematic manner. But there is no fresh action plan. The draft also shows countries pledging to strengthen and reform multilateral development banks and accepted the proposal for tighter regulations of crypto currencies and agreed a total of $4 trillion low-cost financing for energy transition. But it did not mention a fossil fuel phase down. But by and large, as we see the final communique, it's likely to be watered down. But if previous meetings were criticized as achieving little, this one certainly faces even more headwinds.
All right, I want to say many thanks to you, Bode, Ososanmi, Rise Business Analyst, for the breakdown of the ongoing G20 summit.